Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome again to another edition of the GeekMASTER, where we love all things geek more than fish love water. As usual, I'm your socially awkward host, Cassius Samuels, and today I'm going to ramble off at the mouth about some of my predictions for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. But before I can get started, let me just say up front that it is just my own personal speculation that motivated this video. I have no evidence or no insider information to validate anything I'm saying, so do not take anything that I'm saying as fact. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this craziness, shall we? So without further ado, allow me to make my first prediction for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, by saying that I think that Han Solo will die. With everything that we know about the direction Disney plans to take with the new Star Wars franchise, it feels like this is one of the most realistic predictions that I can make about the movie without knowing a whole lot going into it. For one, we know that there is a noticeable trend for the first movie of any Star Wars trilogy to pertain to a major character death. We had Obi-Wan die in A New Hope, and Qui-Gon Jinn die along with Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. So in my mind, it stands to reason that we can expect another major character death coming up in Episode 7. We know that Disney has a Han Solo anthology film franchise plan, which is supposed to depict a younger Han Solo, which excludes any need for Harrison Ford to continue playing the character up front. Not only that, it's no secret that Harrison Ford has made it known plenty of times that he does not like playing Han Solo. And he even tried to have the character killed off during Empire Strikes Back. The only reason they got him to return for the last two installments is, of course, the big dump trunk of money they keep backing up to his house. But even with all the money in the world, I just don't see Harrison Ford sticking around to make another one or two of these movies. Dude just broke his hip making The Force Awakens, so it just seems highly unlikely to me. Yeah, so I'm not shy about going on record saying that I think Han Solo will die. But not only do I think Han Solo will die, I think it'll be Kylo Ren that offs him. I mean, even if I'm wrong about Han being a major character that dies, on a side note, I think the last person we can expect to die in Episode 7 is Kylo Ren. I'm actually looking forward to getting to know this new antagonist, and I anticipate him becoming a central villain in this trilogy very soon. And what better way to solidify yourself as a supervillain in this galaxy far, far away than to ruthlessly kill one of its heroes in cold blood? I just wanted to throw that out there for your own speculation. My next prediction that I have to make for Star Wars Episode 7 is that I think that Rey and Finn are both new Jedis that are going to be trained by Luke Skywalker. Now maybe that is not a very bold prediction, but nonetheless I think it was worth saying because there's been a lot of controversy surrounding who's going to be the new Jedi in the new movie. Knowing that there are going to be a new Jedi introduced to the Star Wars universe following the 30-year gap since Return of the Jedi, it seems obvious to me that the first two Padawans that we will meet are going to be Rey and Finn, since they've been so heavily showcased through every bit of Star Wars media that we've received basically. I think everyone can see that Finn is obviously going to be a Jedi type character of some sort, since we have seen a ton of screenshots and posters with John Boyega wielding a lightsaber. But I also believe that Rey is going to end up being a Jedi, since I believe she is Kylo's sister, or possibly maybe even Luke Skywalker's daughter. But I'll get to that in a minute. In addition to believing that Rey and Finn will both become Jedis, I think it's pretty obvious that Luke is going to have to be the one who ends up training them. I say this because there's a lot of speculation out here with people saying that Luke could possibly be dying in the first movie of this new trilogy and all this other stuff, and I just don't buy that for a second. By the time this movie concludes, Luke will definitely be training both of these new young Padawans, and you can take that to the bank. This just seems like the most plausible situation to me, considering that there is basically no one else around who can do the Jedi training, unless for some reason Ezra from Star Wars Rebels comes out of nowhere and tries to carry on the legacy, which is something I highly doubt. Whoever ends up training him though, I would like to see Rey get the Skywalker lightsaber and see Finn construct his own, but only time will tell. Moving on to what I think will be one of my more controversial predictions for this video concerning Star Wars Episode 7 is a prediction that I have that says, based on nothing but my own imagination, Rey and Kylo are fraternal twins of Han and Leia. Without getting into too much speculation. I basically believe this just because I think it would be an awesome way to see Disney allow characters like Jason and Jaina Solo from the old expanded universe to inspire these new characters. It's not exactly copying, but I can let them get by if they are saying that they're just inspired by them. Having Rey and Kylo be twins would also keep up with the trend of Skywalkers being born in pairs like Luke and Leia were before them, so I could also appreciate that as well. Keeping it real though, on a more personal level, Jason Solo is basically in my top 3 favorite Sith Lords of all time from the expanded universe, so I admit it may just be a little inner fanboy in me that's really just hoping to get to see an unofficial cinematic interpretation of this character so I can have a nerdgasm. And like I said earlier, I could give them a pass on adapting Jason Solo in the expanded universe, unlike I could for a character like Darth Plagueis, because as far as Kylo Ren goes, it would just be an adaptation. If they were to try to use Darth Plagueis in this movie, that would be going beyond inspiration and adaptation and would just be directly biting off the expanded universe. But we'll get to that in a minute as well. Keeping it real though, on the other side of this coin, I could see Rey being the daughter of Luke Skywalker, as I alluded to earlier, which will make her the cousin of Kylo Ren instead of his sister. I would personally like it more if they were twins, like I said, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier about the, being inspired by the EU and tying in some of my favorite characters from the EU. But I wouldn't be mad if they were cousins, considering that the brother versus sister dynamic has already been played out in the Legends continuity, not to mention countless other media forums as well. But I'm down for either one to go down, just to be clear on the subject. As far as my predictions concerning the Knights of Ren go, I'm putting my money on the fact that they are basically a bunch of Force sensitives gathered up by the First Order and indoctrinated into sympathizing with Vader in the old Empire's vision of the galaxy. Since there really isn't a lot of information to go on in regards to the cult group, I basically think that they are going to play the role of the Inquisitors or something along those lines, who embrace and follow Kylo as the new chosen one who has direct lineage to Anakin Skywalker. I feel very strongly in my next prediction that says that Supreme Leader Snoke is a Sith Lord of some kind. From everything we know, it's pretty obvious that Snoke has some kind of understanding of the dark side, whether that knowledge be received from formal training or from Sith holocrons he possibly inherited from Darth Sidious remains to be seen. But regardless of how he came across this knowledge, I think his status as a dark side user is obvious. Someone had to teach Kylo Ren, and the Knights of Ren for that matter, what to do as far as the Force is concerned. And it's not like constructing a lightsaber is common knowledge in a galaxy far, far away. So, it just makes you wonder. A popular theory making its rounds on the internet have a lot of fans believing that Snoke could in fact be Darth Plagueis. And while I think this is a very plausible idea, I personally don't subscribe to it. I say it's plausible because if you remember Sidious's conversation with Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, he told him that Plagueis had such an understanding of the Force that he was able to restore life and even cheat death with his knowledge of the Force. So if you put that together with the knowledge that Disney has basically made it a known fact that the stories of the old expanded universe are non-canon, meaning that the story of Plagueis that ends with his murder at the hands of his apprentice no longer holds any sway, it's very likely that we could be seeing Plagueis making his run at the power vacuum left by Palpatine. But it is worth mentioning that it was never confirmed or denied for that matter that Plagueis saw Palpatine's betrayal coming in the EU or that he survived it. So based on that fact alone, it does give this theory of Plagueis surviving to come and wreak havoc in episode 7 a little traction. And while I acknowledge this scenario as being a likely scenario, I just don't think that this is the case because I think Disney wants to do everything in their power to separate themselves from its predecessors. They came out the gates and made the whole EU non-canon, so it would be very hypocritical in my eyes to act like they don't want to use the EU in their new vision, but then turn around and use the EU villain to pull hardcore Star Wars fans into the theaters and fill seats. I think based on that line of logic, Disney needs to man up and follow their vision without using plot points or main characters from the EU to establish their goals. It's tacky to me, and only time will tell where they're really going to go with this, but that's just my thoughts on it. And last but not least, my final prediction for the movie has to do with Luke Skywalker and what the hell he's been doing for the last 30 years. Following the end of the Return of the Jedi, I think that there was some kind of tragic situation or horrible loss. Maybe the loss of his daughter Rey, maybe Leia has something to do with it, I don't know. But whatever it was, it caused Luke to lose faith in himself and the Force. As a result of this tragic event that I believe he directly blames himself for, I think Luke found himself facing several temptations from the dark side, and without Yoda or Obi-Wan around to guide him, he decided to go into exile to prevent himself from becoming a danger to the galaxy. But what do you think? Do you think I might be onto something with any of these predictions? Or do you have some wild predictions of your own you'd like to share? As long as you aren't trying to say something stupid like Kylo Ren is really Jason Todd or something equally ridiculous, go ahead and please leave a comment down below and let us know what you're thinking. Don't forget to drop a like on the video to show your appreciation, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the videos I put out, and make sure you follow me on Facebook at the GeekMASTER. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut this transmission short. May the Force be with you, all my nerd Jedi brethren out there. Be safe this holiday season, and I'll holla at you motherfuckers later. Sayonara, bitches.